Tonight is a public hearing, which means that we'll be hearing from the public.
I'm seeing parents without any criminal histories whatsoever arrested at home, worried about how their U.S. citizen children will cope when they find out that they are gone.
First of all, I'm the chair of the council, but I'm allowing you to clap at the end of testimony, but I would ask you to keep it brief. I don't want to become disruptive. Recognizing that we've already received a significant amount of public input, maybe from many of you here tonight, on this proposal, which would provide funding for legal representation to low-income county residents who are being held in an immigration detention center because of deportation proceedings.
Deuteronomy 23:16-17 says, "You shall not deliver unto his master an enslaved person that has escaped from his master unto you. He shall dwell with you in your midst in the place that he shall choose within one of your gates that seems good to him. You shall not mistreat him."
If this bill passes, I have to say this would send a wrong message to the world that you can ignore the U.S. immigration laws and enter the U.S. illegally, as we will support you with free legal assistance.
You're done. Thank you. Got it.
Under the Trump administration, immigrants who would normally be released on parole or bond are held for months and sometimes for a year.
The appropriation requires that American citizens assume the financial burden for what is and will be an admittedly increasingly and expanding outlay to provide a right of entitlement for illegal aliens, that being the right of counsel in civil law proceedings, which will not be afforded to American citizens.
Buenas noches, estimados miembros del Concilio. Gracias por permitirme testificar hoy en el apoyo de la representación legal universal para los residentes del condado de Montgomery.
Article 1 of the Constitution states that the government may lay and collect taxes for the general welfare of the United States citizens. It is in this spirit that the state, county, and municipal entities base their authority to tax its citizens. The Council full well knows this, and rather than appropriating direct aid to these foreign nationals, they are attempting to okey-dokey it through an unaccountable nonprofit because they know it would be illegal to do so directly.
The CAIR Coalition is a nonprofit organization based in Washington, D.C. Our staff of 36 people each year visit over 11 detention facilities covering the full states of Maryland and Virginia. We meet with close to 4,000 men, women, and children, conducting Know Your Rights presentations, and usually conduct between 1,200 to 1,600 intakes a year with adults housed at these detention centers. I understand there is concern about where this money will go. I can affirm that if approved, these funds will be used judiciously. Our average incoming staff attorney is paid between $53,000 to $55,000 a year. Our average incoming legal assistant is paid between $39,000 to $43,000 a year. We have 2 current representation programs funded by Prince George's County and Baltimore City, and those attorneys are working really hard to represent people.
Okay.
Illegal immigrants are not constitutionally guaranteed legal counsel. And it is certainly not the responsibility of county government to provide taxpayer-funded legal services for illegal aliens. Over the past year, Montgomery County has adopted several policies regarding illegal aliens in an effort to position itself as a sanctuary county. Paying for legal representation for illegal immigrants is simply another show of defiance against President Trump's immigration crackdown.
By now, the Council is well aware of the dangerous and inhumane policies issued by Mr. Sessions under Trump, such as ramping up detention and enforcement at the border and in our communities.
Hey, come on, everybody.
The imposition of quotas on judges, detention of pregnant women, and aggressive border policies that separate children from their mothers. These policies reflect a mean-spiritedness that now permeates every aspect of immigration practice. For the past 14 years, the Immigration Clinic has practiced immigration law in Baltimore, the court with jurisdiction over most Montgomery County residents.
We have members of our community who face the unthinkable, being torn from their families, their jobs, and all that they know, and forced back to a land they may have no connection to, all because they are poor. Who are we if we let our neighbors, those we love, work with, or go to school with, be taken away just because they cannot pay for a lawyer?
It is morally wrong to take money out of the hands of U.S. citizen taxpayers and give it to illegal immigrants who should not be in the county in the first place. As a U.S. citizen, I am not eligible for free legal aid if my house was under foreclosure because it is a civil as opposed to a criminal procedure. Since deportation is also a civil procedure, why should an illegal immigrant receive such aid?
So I come before you this evening to urge you to vote in favor of the special appropriation to fund legal representation of non-citizens in deportation proceedings, and to encourage you to expand it to ensure that all county residents, regardless of immigration status or previous history with the criminal justice system, have access to due process.
I've never thought that one day that I have to stand in front of our local government officials to defend the law and order. According to the federal law, local governments are prohibited from funding the legal representation of aliens in removal proceedings. Aliens that wish to be represented by legal counsel are free to do so, but federal law stipulates that it must be at no cost to the government. If private organizations such as CAIR wants to help those people, please go ahead and raise money from other resources.
My parents did not come here to violate the law. They came here to make a better life for their family. They came on tourist visas, which soon expired because there were virtually no options for them, and they did not understand the complex immigration system. Most people don't understand that if you do not have a special skill or very close family member who are U.S. citizens or legal permanent residents, there is no right way to come here. And once here, if my parents had had a path and the financial resources to become legal, they would have.
So what's really going on here? Someone I know who had a career prosecuting illegal aliens for DHS said there was never a single instance of a defendant who indicated they were unable to acquire low-cost or free legal representation via various charities or from law firms offering pro bono services. Have you asked the Maryland Bar if they would increase their pro bono programs to include criminal illegal aliens who need legal defense for their deportation hearings? If the council truly just wanted to help illegal aliens who get detained by ICE, you could propose tax breaks to induce additional pro bono legal services to be available. Have you done that? I kind of doubt it. So then what is this really about? This is about the council making a political show to poke a finger in the eye of our president while pandering to your political special interest groups like CASA and Company, which already receives a lot of money from the county budget and which supports illegal aliens in various ways.
And I take issue with the suggestion that most of the people in immigration court have no right to be here. In recent years, prior to this administration, the majority of people appearing for individual hearings in immigration court actually received some type of relief.
I'm here tonight representing Action in Montgomery, over 30 congregations, schools, and nonprofits, 50,000 members, as well as the Bethel World Outreach Church. AIM conducted listening sessions with parents of school children and people in the pews and neighborhoods around our congregations. We are here tonight imploring you to fully support these constitutional civil rights, not just the abstract, but now the concrete reality of funding deportation defense for everyone facing deportation. The United States Constitution guarantees equal protection under the law.
I came to Montgomery County 30 years ago as a student. I went to study in American University. I didn't have a cent in me, so in order to study, I have to study 6 months, then work 6 months, and join 6 months. I never received any loans, any help from the government, or nothing whatsoever. The only thing that I got is a student visa, me and my wife, and we did everything by ourselves. We never requested food stamps or anything like that. We were, trust me, in very low income. Nevertheless, we finished our studies, and then suddenly, when we finished, the visa expired, which means it was a J1 at that time, was many, many years ago. And they said, well, now the visa expired, you have to leave. Several people offer me jobs, and they tell me, yeah, you can stay, don't worry about it, because, what happens is if you stay, the system won't notice you and you can keep going. I said, no, I'm going to follow the law. And because I had that visa, the conditions were that I had to leave the country for minimum of 3 years in order to fulfill what I promised to the government, which I did. We left the country, my wife and I. We went to work outside the country, and we stayed there. After 3 years, we applied for a company to get a job. We got a job, and we came back legally.
I am here today to testify on behalf of my brothers and sisters who at this moment are detained and have an order of deportation who cannot testify here tonight. I am also here for my clients. As a contracted mental health therapist for Montgomery County Public Schools, I have referred many students whose families are also facing this ordeal. I am pretty sure that at this point you are very familiar with the statistics, cost effectiveness, and other benefits this program will bring to the county.
This is a clear misuse of taxpayer funds, and the council should be focused on funding basic services. To illustrate this point, for the past year, I have been working unsuccessfully with Councilman Berliner's office and your liaison person and the Department of Transportation to get my neighborhood's 50-year-old roads resurfaced. Resurfacing of roads has been a very common topic tonight as well. We need basic services down county. But I've been told by the Department of Transportation there is no money for this project. But I see there is money to pay for non-citizen legal fees, but not basic road maintenance. This is a travesty. For even considering the special appropriation, it is clear that the council's priorities are not with the people they serve. It's true, businesses and individuals who can leave the county are definitely leaving. Amazon would be smart not to locate here. Our roads really are horrible down county. And I know that they're considering the White Flint area. Council members, fund your Department of Transportation to cover basic services, not these type of boondoggle projects.
Many parts of our county are beginning to resemble a third world country. My husband will not let me go to Lake Forest Mall alone anymore. It's not a joke. He literally will not let me go there. These sanctuary cities in our community are hurting our property values. There are more crime and gangs in Montgomery County, and my employees, most of all, do not feel safe.
I just want to say being undocumented is not a crime. That is not a criminal violation.
Yeah, but I've been in jail.
Okay, let's just want to say that. Let's keep going, guys. Let's keep going.
There's no reason we should treat immigrant defendants any differently from how we treat defendants who were born in the United States. It's the job of immigration courts to determine whether a person with a prior criminal conviction should remain in this country, and we shouldn't be putting our fingers on the scale before the process even starts. Also, we know that our criminal justice system treats people of color more harshly than white people and institutionalizes systemic racism, so the implications of past convictions are worth revisiting in this context.
Illegal immigration is not good for our country or our community. It undermines our way of life. Montgomery has already declared itself a sanctuary county, giving $380,000 of public funds to an organization with no oversight and no analysis of outcomes or use of resources is just nonsense. Continuing to shelter and support illegals and obstruct the efforts of federal immigration law enforcement is destroying the county that I love.
In the case of a friend of mine, the broken taillight resulted in the deportation of him and his wife, leaving behind 2 minor children. There were no crimes committed, just bad luck. They had no legal advice or representation. What encourages illegal immigration is desperation. Desperate folks will do desperate things no matter the consequences, especially for loved ones. A legal framework that criminalizes this desire is in need of serious reform. Until Congress acts, however, it is necessary for local governments to do something to ensure that our neighbors, friends, and coworkers have a shot at due process that most of us take for granted.
The fact that the county council is even considering spending $375,000 of our county tax dollars to fight federal immigration law, to fight federal law, is patently absurd. This is a criminal waste of funds to abet and aid law breaking for a county that has had to raise property taxes significantly in the last 3 years and still runs at a deficit. Taxpayers do not want to pay taxes for county-hired lawyers to fight laws already passed by the U.S. Congress. No county voters authorized you to take this ridiculous action, and no county voter groups have been clamoring to you to do this, other than special interest groups that serve the illegal alien population.
I'm here to speak to you as a high school student and a DACA recipient as well. I'm the president of 2 clubs at my school and a volunteer with United We Dream. In December, my cousin and I led the school walkout for the DREAM Act at our school, Gaithersburg High School. At our club, which is comprised of immigrant youth, we speak about the uncertainty of our futures under DACA, as well as the risk of deportations at the hands of ICE every single meeting. I have been accepted to 4 out of the 5 colleges I've applied to, and I plan on making my life here in the United States, but unfortunately, my migratory status makes me vulnerable for deportation.
These individuals the council seeks to defend are alleged to be guilty of the crime of improper entry and/or unlawful presence. Immigration law lies within the purview of the federal government. This was codified in the Immigration and Nationality Act of 1952. It is not a state nor a local matter. Individuals in this country who have been taken into custody and are under arrest and consideration for deportation are alleged to be in violation of federal law, not state or local. Improper entry is a criminal misdemeanor in its first occurrence and a felony in any subsequent occurrence. Unlawful presence is a civil offense. The primary penalty for unlawful presence is deportation or removal via a hearing in a federal immigration court. In either case, the individual in violation is an illegal alien. Are the individuals in question residents? By the definition of the word, yes. However, being a resident in no way mitigates or lessens the offense of being an illegal alien subject to federal immigration law.
My name is Ellen Daniels, and I've been teaching English to speakers of other languages in Montgomery County Public Schools since 1993. And I'm here as an individual, but one who has been deeply affected by my personal relationships with, at this point, hundreds of undocumented youth in this county. And now, as the parent of my own teenager, I can't even imagine her having gone through what my students have been going through. I've been teaching recently arrived students. Most of them are fleeing gang violence and political chaos in Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador. And I want to tell you a little bit about them to humanize this issue. And the more I listen, the more I feel that we need some humanization and development of personal relationships in order to move forward together.
The due process exclusions serve to exacerbate this administration's campaign to systematically tar immigrants as criminals. The administration has issued weekly releases of real or imagined crimes that immigrants have committed, prosecuted mothers as smugglers for reuniting with their children, and dubiously and overextensively used gang allegations, usually targeting children fleeing violence. The goal is to dehumanize the immigrant community, blunt outrage against human and civil rights violations, and justify a deportation agenda that is tearing families apart. The due process exclusions would represent a wholesale endorsement of these policies. Montgomery County has an opportunity to stand up to this administration and protect county residents. To do so, I strongly support that the council remove the due process exclusions and reaffirm this country's commitment to the principles that our nation was founded upon, including the principles of liberty and justice for all.
Illegal immigration is unfair to legal immigrants who often wait years to come here at incredible economic and personal cost. It makes a mockery of the rule of law. In aiding and abetting illegal immigrants, you are providing incentives for more illegal immigrations. The U.S. is seeking to deport them because they have been often held in custody or prison for some crime or have been repeat deportation offenders. Helping them stay in this country is a public safety risk. Evidence does show crime among illegal immigrants, not legal immigrants, is disproportionately high.
Our coalition represents the members of the following organizations: Progressive Action Montgomery, Tacoma Park Mobilization, the Montgomery County Civil Rights Coalition, People Power Montgomery, Do the Most Good Montgomery, the Immigration Ministry of the Cedar Lane Unitarian Universalist Church, the Montgomery County chapter of the DMV Sanctuary Congregations Network, and Indivisible Montgomery. while our president and his supporters remind us daily of the shocking capacity of individuals and institutions to act from a place of hate and fear and with a complete disregard for basic humanity, we know that we are better than this.
I'm a long-term resident of Montgomery County, Maryland, and I'm opposed to the County Council funding of nearly $374,000 to provide legal defense funds for people who are here illegally. I know that prior to this funding request, there was another one made by CAIR for at least about $150,000, and now they're wanting more money to expand their program. As someone who has worked with people in the past as a resident counselor, I knew people who were here illegally. In fact, I like many of them very much. I am sympathetic to their plight. However, that does not mean taxpayers should be on the hook because they made choices to come here illegally. Are we not a nation of law? You made Montgomery County a magnet for illegal immigrants, and this program, as I'm sure Ms. Kubas knows, will only make that need for taxpayer money greater as more illegal immigrants discover this, despite what her letter says.
It's essential that immigrants who cannot afford to hire an attorney have the assistance of organizations like the CAIR Coalition. I've worked closely with the attorneys at CAIR over the years and can assure this council that money allocated to CAIR will be used in the most efficient and effective manner possible. CAIR's attorneys work long hours for very little money, far less than I or my colleagues in private practice make. Yet they produce outstanding work and are true experts in the field of immigration defense.
I understand that this is just the first request for money, and CAIR is planning to ask for more money in the future. Why are we now providing additional funds for civil legal proceedings? They are not criminal proceedings. How is this fair to residents who are being asked to foot the bill? The proposal talks about creating a deportation defense fund. The proposal states that a private foundation would establish and administer the fund. What foundation will establish and administer the fund? I am planning to retire in a few years. It seems that there will be no end to these emergency appropriations that must be acted on without delay in the public interest. Why would I want to continue to live in a county where the quality of life and services are on the decline and I am constantly asked for more and more money? How is this fair to someone like me?
Thank you, Ms. Jaffe. Okay, thank you, everyone. Appreciate all of your participation this evening. And our business is concluded here. We are adjourned.